Alright, welcome back to another turn of Operation Tirpitz. This is going to be turn 17, July 1944 for the Italians. Before we get into it, have a few minor bits of housekeeping. Um, I believe Spitfire wants his Soviet capital to be in Norland if it's possible. I can't find any rule restricting that the Soviet capital has to be in home country. So, unless someone else can find that restriction, the capital's just going to be in Norland instead of in Leningrad. Also, the cavalry marched from Lapland into Leningrad through Viipuri. Viipuri is a marsh, so the cavalry movement halts in that territory. The Marines we're still openly discussing whether these Marines are allowed to rail into Viipuri or whether or not they have to march into Lapland to cross the rail gauge. That's just an open discussion being had. I haven't gotten an answer, but I still want to put out the turn. I don't think these Marines are relevant to anyone until the German turn, so we can keep the game moving before that discussion is finished. And lastly, I built a little plate here for the units of the Commonwealth that were built this turn in England and are consequently unable to participate in Overlord, just as a reminder for Deathidus, because I anticipate an Overlord this turn. If there is no Overlord this turn, and the game continues into next turn, then we'll just keep this plate here, and we can use this as a clear way to communicate what units are and are not able to participate. Alright, let's get into it. I have, once again, rolled the tech off screen using the Dice Maiden bot. I rolled a roll of 2 on LRA, so that is a miss. For the buys, I'm declaring 4 infantry for 12 IPPs, leaving me with 8. And I'm buying 2 militia and 2 militia upgrades for those 8 IPPs, clearing my bank. Let's get into the combats. Alright, so from Western Germany, my medium bomber is flying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into Macedonia, joining that bomber on the attack on Macedonia. I guess I will open the turn by declaring war on Greece, so that's happening. Joining the attack on Macedonia, the Italian advanced artillery and advanced airborne from Bulgaria are attacking Macedonia, as well as the infantry from Istanbul. From Albania into Thessaly, all of the available advanced airborne and advanced artillery, so that's 4 advanced airborne and 2 advanced artillery. Joining that combat will be 1 tactical bomber from Sicily. Attacking the Peloponnese is going to be 1 fighter from Sicily. And from northern Italy, there's going to be 1 advanced artillery, 1 advanced airborne, and 1 marine attacking the Peloponnese as well. And they're going to be doing that via the transport plane for the airborne, just flying 1, 2, 3, and the naval transport in port in northern Italy is picking up the marine and advanced artillery and moving into M6. Joining the transport in M6, the battleship in Gibraltar is moving 1, 2, and bombarding the Peloponnese. I guess there is no technical possibility for combat, so this destroyer can't join that battleship in the combat movement phase. Okay. Moving on, the destroyer in port in northern Italy and the destroyer in port in M4 in Tripoli are moving into M6, then M7, and attacking the Greek fleet that is present there. Every naval unit in M8 is joining that attack in M7. That's an additional destroyer, a TBD, and a light cruiser. And from Sicily, the remaining tactical bomber is attacking M7 as well. From Tobruk, both airborne are boarding the 2 transport planes and airborne assaulting Crete with a fighter from Tobruk. Wish I had more on that. That's okay. That's okay. It's still likely to win. Okay. Also from Tobruk, I'm flying my strategic bomber 1, 2 into Upper Egypt and strategic bombing the railroad there. For combat movements, I am attacking Belgian Congo with 2 of the advanced airborne from Cameroon. And I am moving my submarine in A44 into A45 and raiding the New York Rio de Janeiro line, declaring war on the Americans. Yeah. And the last, but definitely not least, combat. The seaplane in Western Germany is going on map in A6, and that's all it's doing. There should be a map tile that our Bubs just picked up last turn. Okay, there. There we go. So he's just gonna hang out in A6. I believe that's all of the combats intended declared. So let's move into the combats. I'll do the raiding first because I always forget raiding. I have no anti-submarine warfare to contend with in A45 against the Americans. So the left die will be the coastal submarine rolling at a +1, and the right die will be the convoy rolling with no modifiers. No damage is dealt to the convoy. Okay, move on to the next combat. We'll do north to south, I suppose. Let's start with Macedonia. Has 1 infantry versus 1 advanced artillery, 1 advanced airborne, 1 infantry, and 1 medium bomber. One militia defending, 1 infantry unmodified attacking, 1 advanced artillery unmodified with a first strike roll. We'll roll him first, actually. He misses. And then 1 advanced artillery or advanced airborne modified with the artillery and medium bomber. Okay, round 1. I did get the hit, and the defenders did not. So Macedonia is captured. Okay. Moving on to Thessaly, I have 1 tactical bomber, 4 airborne, 2 artillery, and 2 defending as 2 mountain infantry. And the terrain is mountains. So, 2 defenders at 5, 2 first strikes at 3. We'll roll those first. No hits. 2 advanced airborne at 3 and 2 at 2. with a tactical bomber. Alright, roll for round 1. 2 hits for the defenders, no hits for the attackers. That is incredibly unfortunate. I gotta press. I'm gonna put both those losses on advanced airborne naturally and press for round 2. No hits for the defenders, all of the hits for the attackers. Okay, pulled it out in the end. Okay. So, Thessaly is captured at the loss of 2 advanced airborne. And Italy gains 1 IPC. Okay, Peloponnese is next, which has airborne and marine and a fighter and a bombard on round 1. Okay. Airborne, marine, fighter, bombard is at 4. We'll roll it first because it's first strike. Miss, and an infantry defending. So for round 1, hit for the attackers, not for the defenders. Okay, so Peloponnese is captured. Next we'll do M7, which has a heavy cruiser and a destroyer versus 3 destroyers, a TBD, a light cruiser, and a tactical bomber. Alright, so let's roll for round 1. 1 hit for the Greeks, and all of the necessary hits for the Italians. So I will naturally take that hit on the TBD. Next is Crete, which has 2 airborne and a fighter against a militia. There should be no train modifiers, so the airborne should hit at 3. Round 1. Hit for the attackers, not for the defenders. Crete is captured, fulfilling Imperio Italiano. All of Greece, Albania, Cyprus, and Malta are under Italian control. So we're going to add an Italian seaplane and an Italian transport plane to the build chart. And I'm going to mark these because when they die, they get to be rebuilt for free. So which one is the Impero Italiano unit is important, potentially. I mean, I doubt it. The game's going to end soon, but it matters in other games, so it's a good habit to have. Okay, so that is all of the Mediterranean combat I have. Alright, let's do Belgian Congo, which has 2 airborne attacking across a river, as many rivers as possible, versus 1 militia. Round 1. Wow, incredible. Italians get a hit, and The British do not. Okay, so Belgian Congo is captured. And British lose 1 IPC, and the Italians gain 1. Okay, and I believe there is one more combat, the strategic bombing of the rail in Upper Egypt. I'm not going to roll for anything. The only result that can occur is 2 damage to the rail, and the bomber flies back home. So I'm just going to do that. And I'm going to be bombing the Upper Egypt rail bordering Nubia, so it's going to be the southern border. Okay. Now for non-combat movements. Okay. From Upper Egypt, the strategic bomber is flying back to. Oh no, 1, 2. It flew 2 to Upper Egypt, and it's flying 3, 4, 5, 6 to Cameroon. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. Okay. More aircraft. There's nothing else down south. From Crete, the fighter and both transport planes. Actually, the fighter and 1 transport plane are returning to Tobruk. The other transport plane is flying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to northern Italy. Yeah, that'll do. From M7, the tactical bomber is also flying to Tobruk. One, two, three, four. Yeah. From the Peloponnese and from Thessaly, the tactical bomber and the fighter are returning to Sicily. 1, 2, 3, 4. The transport plane that attacked the Peloponnese is going to fly to Gibraltar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, that'll do. The medium bomber from Macedonia has to land somewhere bordering Macedonia. It's going to land in Albania. I think that's all the aircraft. Yeah. Okay, so joining the battleship and transport in M6 is going to be the destroyer that was in port in Gibraltar as part of the non-combats. More non-combats, I intend to rail 4 Italian infantry from northern Italy through Austria and into Normandy. And they're just going to sit there. Yeah. I believe that's all I have written out. I do have 1 strategic naval movement to use as well. The Italian transport in Tripoli is using strategic naval movement into M9, picking up the airborne infantry, and then using strategic naval movement back into M4, where the airborne is deposited in Tobruk, and the transport goes back in port in M4. Reasonably confident it's safe, even without a bodyguard. So that's going to be all for the Italian non-combat movement. I'll place my buys now. Um, I do have the industrial capacity to build one of these aircraft and all 4 infantry. I'm choosing to build the seaplane instead of the transport plane. And according to the rules, if I don't have the factory space to build it, it just stays in the place units box for next turn. Okay, so all of the units that have to be built at a factory are built in northern Italy. One militia upgrade and one militia are being built in Gibraltar. So that results in just 1 extra infantry. And I'm going to attempt to do a militia upgrade in Eritrea. That necessarily requires a supply path from a major factor, or from the home country. The way I'm choosing to do that passes an American coastal submarine in A46. So I'm going to roll an interdiction roll against that militia upgrade. So that should be a D12. Yeah. Rolled for the American sub on the left and for the supplies on the right. And if the submarine has a higher result, then the supplies are destroyed. The supplies get through easily. Okay. Okay, so the militia upgrade and the militia are both being placed in Eritrea, and the result is going to be just 1 additional infantry there. Okay. Now I collect income. I have a base income of 17, and the Mediterranean is now clear of Allied warships once more, so I collect that additional 2 IPP as well for 21 collected this turn. And now the game is ready to pass off to Deathidist for the American turn, and best of luck for your Overlord.